Hello my friends and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we have Jenny versus Jerry, the great plant debate. The plant challenge.
The plant challenge, the plant debate, lots of characteristics, lots of talking about plants.
Yes.
And you let us know what you think.
What would you choose, right? So this was your idea to come up with.
Yes.
Right, because of course we are in the throes of winter. And it is cold. So it is cold and you're kind of stuck inside and you're dreaming about warmer days full of sunshine and beautiful plants. So that is what we're going to do is we have a list of about 12 different plants, one versus the other. Jerry is going to debate one, I'm going to debate the other, and we're going to try to figure out, prove our point of which one is the better plant when they verse each other.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, something fun. So just let us know what your choices are in these 12 versus challenging plants. Whatever. All right, here we go.
These are all annuals.
Yes.
Right? They're all annuals.
They are all
annuals. We may do shrubs later.
Yes, that would be fun.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. You know, when it gets wintertime and it's too cold to be outside, you get creative on things to talk about.
But it's cool to talk about these things because we both have different opinions about plants.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so first up, we have some Super Tunias. We have Super Tunia Vista Jazzberry versus Super Tunia Mini Vista White.
Yeah, so I'm rolling with Jazzberry. I'm rolling with the bold color. I'm rolling with the big show. I'm rolling with its big aggressive growth. I can put that thing in the berm and I can plant the whole berm and it's going to be a big show, bright color from the drone shots. I'm going to love it 110%. Great color. You know, what I also like about it is a vista. So it's a very strong rooted petunia, and it's going to be there from, you know, the beginning to the end, and probably one of the, because it's made for that big bold in the landscape.
It is. So now my turn. So Mini Vista White. If you have followed us, you know that I love this plant and I use it all the time. So why is Mini Vista White better than Jazzberry? One, the color will go with anything. White, right? White goes with anything. So sometimes Jazzberry, maybe your colors will clash. White is classic and will go with everything. It is very cooling and calming. We have it around the patio, one of the hottest areas in the garden. So it's very relaxing and peaceful. It shows up great at both dawn and dusk. So it stands out from a distance. And it is a mini vista. So you can put it in those tight places. So I can put it in the patio beds, the raised patio beds, where I don't have enough room to do like a vista. A vista would absolutely overtake the area and it would just be too big. So the mini vista is more controlled while it does spread. It's not as vigorous. It still will do the landscape. It still will do containers. It still will do hanging baskets. And you can plant it in early March.
Mine would do hanging baskets too.
Yeah, but see, this is a debate, so he's got to come up with his own points. He can't steal my points.
It's what you call speaker.
You can't cut my mic off. And also with the Mini Vistas, the Mini Vista White, it is just absolutely, like I said, one of those classic, gorgeous, very well controlled, beautiful plants that is highly versatile. Planted for us in North Carolina zone mid to late March. It depends on the weather, right? And it will go all the way through the summertime. So
yeah,
into the fall.
You know, pick your petunia.
That's right. Which one do you like? All right. Next we have. this was a hotly debated of who gets what. We're going into some Kufias. So Kufia Vermillionaire versus the brand new this year, Frosted Violets. This is the Totally Tempted Frosted Violets. So I'll go first with mine since you went first last time.
Sure.
Okay, we'll switch it up that way. So Vermillionaire. I'm sorry, you cannot beat Vermillionaire because it is an absolute classic. It It is the massive attractor for hummingbirds. We literally have people come here saying, I want the hummingbird plant. That is Vermillion. It has those big, beautiful, bold orange flowers on it. They're little, but the color is bold. Not only do your hummingbirds love it, but your honeybees, your bumblebees go nuts over it. You can put it in the landscape. You can put it in containers. You can put it in a hanging basket as like a thriller. It is an absolute wonderful, wonderful plant that is great for attracting your hummingbirds.
Well, I am a new introduction. So, you know, I'm new, so everybody's going to want me, right?
This is true.
So totally tempted.
Frosted Violet.
Frosted Violet. I forgot the name of it. I know it so well. So, Frosted Violet. I will say that at the signature event, and it was during the cocktail hour, there were multiple people that were asking what this plant was that was growing, and it was the one that everybody was asking about. So, and I would say that it has a nice variegation to it. It has a really color to it, and it has bigger flowers. Everybody complains about the little small flower of Vermillion. This one has big flowers, bold colors. You know, you can see it in the landscape. And I'm going to do better in the basket anyways, because I'm bigger and I have bigger flowers, and I'm going to kind of drape a little bit. Vermillion is going to be stuck up.
That's why the hummingbirds love it so much, because it's stuck up.
That's right.
All right, next on to begonias. All right, here we go. The Surefire Rose versus the Double Up Pink. And so this is your turn to go first. So Surefire Rose versus Double Up Pink.
Yep, so Surefire Rose, I like that guy because it's been around a good bit. It's going to give it a little more height in the garden with the dark foliage with a really bright pink flower on there. It does not need irrigation. It doesn't, you know, we plant that thing at our mailbox every spring, I think it is, you know, and it's a place where we have no water. So it's a rock solid plant that just cannot be beat, bug resistant, no aphids ever. I've never seen aphids on that plant. Yeah.
All right, my turn?
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
You might think of some things after I say my
list. You can use it as a thriller, you know, in a basket or in a container. I really like it in the landscape, you know.
So Double Up Pink is going to be more tighter. It's going to be more compact. It's got more flowers on it. So from a distance, yes, the flowers are small, but there's more flowers on it. So from a distance, it does make, in my opinion, a better flower display than the Surefire Rose. Your Double Up Pink can do sun or shade. It can go either direction. Since it is,
can do that too.
So since it is a wax begonia, it is going to be rabbit resistant. If you followed along our journey last year of rabbits in our backyard, then you know I used the Surefires. They were great. The rabbits did not go after those. You can use it in a container. You can use it in the landscape.
Yeah, the deer walked by mine.
So do the rabbits on mine. And yes, so it's not a big fertilizer. You don't have to use a ton of water on it. You can use in those areas of those, you know, little to no irrigation. I planted some of the Double Ups in the middle of the summer. They were great all the way through the hard freeze. Japanese beetles don't like them.
Yeah, both are that way.
True, but I came up with the idea.
Yeah, it's called.
All right.
That's the way these things go.
It is. Next, okay, for our shade gardens, it is apple blossom versus apple blossom. And let me tell you, that never gets confusing around in a garden center when somebody asks for apple blossom, because when you have two annuals that both do well in the shade and they're both called apple blossom, it gets to be a little confusing. So, but it's fun. So we have the Rockapulco apple blossom versus the new Double Delight apple blossom begonia. One's an impatient, one's a begonia.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rockapulco every time because the customers think it's a rose. They'll see it growing in the grande, and those beautiful, beautiful flowers. And it's a flower, it's a pink color that you can put in the shade. I mean, really, all the Rocapucos have so many unique colors, and it loves the shade. I mean, you cannot put the Rocapuco in the sun. So that there makes it the winner because it can go in the shade. There's so many annuals, so many coloring flowers that can only go in the sun, you know, because if you put them in the shade, they're gonna get too-legged and they're not gonna flower. This thing's gonna bloom its head off like a rose. It has that flower structure of a rose, which makes it the winner. It's over.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, in his opinion, it's over, but not in my opinion. Now, you know I do love a good Rocapuco, but the new Double Delight Apple Blossom is absolutely stunning. It gives you a bigger flower than the Rocapuco does. It's that gorgeous double flower. It is huge, and it does really well in the shade. Again, especially if you're in the hotter zones, you cannot put the Double Delight Apple Blossom in the full sun. It will absolutely fry. Yes, it does well in the shade, but it also does well in like filtered sun. So it can handle a little bit more sun than maybe your Rocapucos can. And not only does it have a mounding habit to it, but it also will trail. So you can put it in a container and it trails over a little bit. So you get that really cool look to it. And plus, I think the foliage on the Double Delight Apple Blossom is a little bit better than the foliage interest than say your Impatience. And because it still is a begonia in that waxy begonia family, it's going to be a little bit more resistant to the critters than say the Rocapucos would be.
Yeah, I've never had critter problems with the Impatience. No critter problems.
No critter problems.
No I really have had zero
insects
issues with that plant.
Either one.
Yeah.
Either one.
Either one of them. Begonias are great. All begonias are great in that way, in that aspect.
Yes. And for us in the South, you're going to notice that we talk a lot about like the Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles and aphids. Those are our two biggest pesky problems like that.
Yep.
Praise the Lord, we don't deal with spider mites very, very often. We do, or the budworms. Neither one of those are big for us, but you're going to hear those. All right, moving on to some grasses.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I don't know if we talked about who gets what on this one.
Well, I'm going to go with purple fountain grass every time.
So it's purple fountain grass versus Prince Tut.
Yeah, purple fountain grass is a nice wavy texture in the garden. It's going to give you that nice movement pattern. It's purple. It's once again the most favorite color in grasses for all customers. They just love that purple color, and y'all is want it as a perennial, and it's just not that case for so unless you're in Florida, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, but it has the nice purple. Well, it comes out green and then it starts to turn purple, and then it gives you the plumes later on. So then towards the end of the season, I think you've seen it in our signature garden, and I think we were having a hurricane come in, and you can see the movement that it gives, and it gives that everybody wants movement in the garden. Purple fountain is a great grass for that. You can use it as a single container. And it looks beautiful, has like a monoculture on its own. You know, there's not too many grasses that can do that, and it does great in the landscape.
Versus Prince Tut.
And the other thing is that, you know, Jenny likes to plant it in mass, so that makes it the best.
Next, okay, so Prince Tut. So Prince Tut is such a fun grass, very unique, completely different than purple fountain grass. So you're not going to see any kind of texture or shape like Prince Tut. Now, with the purple fountain grass, you've got fountain grasses, you've got them purple, you've got them green, you've got them all different colors, and they're all like, okay, so you've seen one purple fountain grass, you've seen them all, right? They're all the same. Prince Tut is different because it has those fun little frilly little fringy plumes at the top, so you get really unique interest to it. It's very vertical, so it has very straight up, so it makes a great thriller in a large container. It does really well in the landscape to give you some nice strong vertical interest. And Prince Tut does really well in wet areas. So like even as
I would say any grass
pond,
does well.
a pond plant, especially that it will do really well. The more water it gets, the bigger it gets, the happier it is.
Yeah.
So you're going to get
Same
tons
over
of
here.
fun, interest, but mine is cooler looking than yours is.
Same over here.
No, mine's cooler looking. I guarantee you, because when people will come to the garden center, they always ask, like the Prince Tut, they're like, what is that? That's really fun.
So go back and find a video where we were at 4-Star in the display gardens there at 4-Star, and Jean just raves about purple fountain grass.
If you know me, you know that I really do love purple fountain grass.
Yes. You can go back and find that. That's a great video.
Well, I'll probably, that'd be a good cue for me to put it up on the screen for you. All right, now we're gonna move back into some flower power, but early spring, cool weather flower power. Okay, you ready?
Early spring, cool weather, flower power.
Yes, sir. So we have the new Aromat's Mulberry Nesia versus, and this is the newer in the series, the Campfire Marshmallow Biden. And you immediately said, I am choosing...
Aromance.
Yes.
Yeah. Aromance, the heliotrope, right?
Nope. Nesia.
Nemesia?
Yeah.
I got swandered here.
No, you didn't.
I thought it was
the mulberry. Think about the Nesia mulberry.
Oh yeah, early season
Yeah.
flower. I thought we were talking about the heliotrope.
No,
for some
no,
reason.
no, not talking about that one.
Aromagica. That's how I got it.
It's the
mixed up.
Aromagica.
That Aromagica just keeps blooming. And
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Go back to your Nesia. Go back to your Aromat's mulberry.
Nemesia, that is a very, very gorgeous plant in the very beginning of the spring with its dainty, nice colored flowers.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most heat tolerant Nemesias on the market. If for us here in zone 8A, 7B, whichever one you want to call us, it lasts much longer than any other Nemesia. And depending on the spring, if we can just keep it a little bit cooler, you know, just into there, and it has time and it gets well rooted. You got to plant it early here. So, and then it's going to last longer and be able to defend against the heat. And you know, and it's a nice short, and it does really well in containers. Say for instance you want to, you know, like a big, we have that large Asian bowl at the greenhouse, and we have a tree standard, this is, which one is that, the little lime? Yeah, little lime tree standard coming out of that pot, and the whole bottom of it could be the Nemesia, and it does really good in those type of things. You could plant it in the landscape, it does well. I think it does better in the container though for us. You know, so I would choose container on that.
Well, we did it in the backyard last year, and it did really well.
It did.
And I'm gonna help him out a little bit here too. It's called Aromance because it
has a lovely smell to it. You know, when you walk into the greenhouse in early spring, we have it right there, and everyone wants to know about what
smells so
good.
good.
What that fragrance is.
Yeah. So then, okay, so I chose the Campfire Marshmallow Bidens.
I was tricked into this one. So,
He was not. You know, ignorance is not an excuse, because I told him right up front what it was. And so it was in his brain, he got it flipped around. So I can't help that. All right, the Marshmallow Bidens, we actually paired these together last year in the landscape.
And I'll give you a tip on how I would pick the winner on this one.
I know how you're going to pick the winner on this one. So the Marshmallow Bidens, I would choose that over because of the longevity of the plant. So we planted it in early spring, and that was probably mid-March that we planted those directly in the landscape. They went through some very cool temperatures, some frost, did not cover them. They handled it like champions. The Campfire Marshmallow looks like a little teeny tiny daisy, right? So when you plant it in mass, you get this sweet white color, but it's short. It's not going to be crazy tall, so you can put it in tight, compact areas, and it went through the entire summer. The plan was in my brain, because I didn't think either one of them was going to last through the heat of the summer, was that we would pull them out once they kind of succumb to the heat and then put Lantana in. But we never had to do that because the Bidens just kept rocking and rolling the entire way out.
Campfire Marshmallow,
Yeah, is that what no, I said something different, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, so the Campfire
There's several different types of Bidens.
What did I say?
You said Bidens.
Okay, yeah.
But I was just saying, I would say Campfire Marshmallow.
Yeah, the Marshmallow. And so in fact, I'm going to use the Marshmallow in the signature garden this year.
Ooh, tricky.
Do you know where I'm going to put it? Do you remember? I'm going to put it in the back row in between the viburnums.
Okay, I think that would be nice.
Yeah, because it stays nice and petite and strong.
I think you go after aromates for the fragrance, the color, just that unique look to it. It's a strong plant, but the Campfire Marshmallow does. It keeps blooming there.
It does.
Here for us, now in the north, it will do really well for a long period of time. But here in the south, if you got to plant it early, I would say in the landscape only.
Yeah.
You know, where aromats could go both ways.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Well, and the year before, when we were testing out Marshmallow, I put it in the urns, remember?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, but it didn't last. And I think that was because we didn't have enough soil. Like, it wasn't enough soil in there for that.
Yep.
All right. Where we went from the cool of the spring, now we're going into the heat dog days of summer. We have the luscious Lantana lemon tart versus the Mojave yellow portulaca.
Gotcha.
I'll go first. All right.
Yeah, you haven't gone first in a little bit.
I haven't gone. Let me go first. Ladies first. All right.
It's out of whack here.
It does. Let me take a stab at it first. So I chose the Mojave yellow portulaca because I love this plant. It loves the heat. It is drought tolerant. It is a great ground cover because it stays nice and short, but it does spread out, so you can put it in those tight places. There's really sunny areas. If you put it in a container, it will act like a spiller, so it's very versatile, whether you want it as a ground cover or you want it as a spiller in a container. The pollinators go crazy over this plant. We had, when we were very first testing out the yellow, remember we had it in the water trough by the barn, had it there in the front, and it was spilling over, and we couldn't get over how many honeybees were covering this plant. So it is a massive pollinator attractor. Very little water needs because it's more like almost like a sedum, so it really holds that water in really well, and it goes all the way through till your first hard freeze. And then the fun thing about it is that your flowers will open and close with the sun. So they close at night, and then when the sun starts to come up and warm them up, then they open on up. And the Mojave yellow will stay open longer than other portulacas do.
Yep, so my lemon tart lantana is plant in the ground, leave it, walk away, and it's there to the end, bitter end. It's like one of the easiest plants to plant. Really bright colored yellows, beautiful yellows. I think once again it's one of Jenny's favorite lantanas, so that ranks it up there as the best plant right here right now. You know, lantanas do that because you get them. I would wait till after April 15th here, whatever last frost day. You can go ahead and pick your spots for those, and then they start to root. And sometimes they can sit for a while, and it looks like, you know, the thing's not going to flower, but then it just takes off, and it's in flower the whole time, and it is there to like well into fall, probably past that until we get a really hard freeze to take it out, and no irrigation necessary, very little fertilizer on those. I like the smell of it, the oily smell on lantana. So that does have a fragrance, so that gives it a little bit of a bump there. Yeah, but
your pollinators and your butterflies.
That's what I was wondering about pollinators, though.
The butterflies.
On that one.
The butterflies.
Yeah, butterflies.
The butterflies love it. So, gotta help a brother out here on this one. All right, next we're completely switching it up. Really fun, and I guess we could say like a little announcement too, right? Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know what's next.
We have the Heart to Heart Blushing Bride versus the Super Bells Prism Pink Lemonade. I always get that. That's a very complicated one.
Right, so I'm torn between these. I'm pretty sure Jenny's going to go with the caladium because caladiums are her favorite thing.
Yes.
And then the Prism Pink.
Yes, Super Bells.
Super Bells Prism Pink. Go
Lemonade.
on the website, you can look at that one.
Yeah.
And you can see it's a mirage of colors, and that's why we're going after that caladium. Caladium's trying to win the show with all its mirage of colors, but I'm going to change over time. It's not. And then I'm going to rebloom and then have different colors and have you know, the mirage of colors, right? You know, so I love hanging out. That plant loves hanging out in the basket. It does, or any kind of planter. So it's the one that you want to put in all your planters as a spiller. You can do it as a mono hanging basket. It would be really great. So it's a very unique Super Bell. So that's, you know, not seen on the market as much. So that gives it a plus there. And as far as like, I got into the Calibracoa lines for baskets and this because they're a little more low maintenance than petunias. And I would only compete it against like the Mini Vista line of petunias from Proven Winners. But if I was, because it's more controlled, it's lower maintenance for the homeowner in a hanging basket, and it just stays in flower way long. So it's a good competition there.
It is good competition. It's a good try. You're not going to win, but it is a good try. So the Heart to Heart Blushing Bride. So the fun thing is that we have added 10 caladiums to the website. They're all the Heart to Heart from Proven Winners. And what is cool is we get to offer these to our customers. So Blushing Bride is one of those. And I chose Blushing Bride because of the color. So a little bit of competition here because they're both in those pink families. Now, your Super Bells, yeah, they're great. Yeah, whatever. The flowers are pretty. But Super Bells, where we are, only do well in containers, right?
Correct.
You don't plant them in the ground. Caladiums.
That's just here, but my beach friends, man.
Oh my gosh, hush. That's not, we're talking
Beach
about here.
friends in the sand. You know, my people have sand. You can plant them in the ground.
Well-draining soil. Yes.
So you could do stuff
Well,
with
you
that
don't have to be finicky. You don't have to be finicky with your caladiums. You can have compacted clay soil. You can put them in a hanging basket. You can put them in a container, any kind of container, any type of the landscape, and they do really, really well. Do they flower? No. You don't need flowers on your caladiums because of their gorgeous colors. His needs to have at least 6 hours of sun. Mine can do sun or shade, and then depending on where you put it, and the sun conditions, you too can have a mirage of colors with your caladiums. They do not need to be fertilized. They don't have to be worried about being pinched back, because sometimes with your Super Bells, you have to cut them back a little bit to not as bad as a petunia, but sometimes you have to give a little trim. So you don't have to worry about that, and you don't have to worry about budworms. You don't have to worry about the possibility of getting aphids on them. They are planted when it's nice and toasty. They love the heat and humidity, and they will go absolutely bananas. So if you like those caladiums, like I said, we're going to have 10 different varieties available.
10 different varieties. Caladiums are great.
They are great. And what's neat too about these when you order them from us is that you're not getting just the corms. You're getting a quart-sized caladium that's already flushed out. So it literally is, you can plant it in the landscape, you can plant it in a container, and you instantly have those beautiful foliage, those colors, and you don't have to be fussy and wait for the corms to sprout and grow.
Yeah, that can be tricky, you know, guys, if you get those, and then, because what a lot of people don't realize on the caladium side is when it's coming up and you feed it 45-degree water, you just set it back.
Yeah.
So, that's why, like for here, it's going to go outside once it's really warm.
At least 65 degrees.
Yeah.
So it needs to be at least 65 degrees at night for you to put them out.
Yeah, and my greenhouse friends that you're getting, the corns in, you're going to want some sort of, if you don't have a dedicated tropical house, it's going to be, because you can't grow it along with Super Bells and petunias. You're trying to keep your house cool at night, and the caladiums, corns, they don't like that, so they just sit, until June or July here, and then they start to come up. Well, that's too late. So
for the retail.
Yeah, so you would have to have heated space or heat from the bottom to really get them to come up.
Yeah, but that's why I love caladiums once they're sprouted, because our nights are so hot, so humid, and the caladiums thrive in those conditions.
They do.
That's why I love it. As a Southern gardener, cannot beat caladiums any day of the week. All right, moving on to color, not necessarily flowers, but color. We're going to the Color Blaze Coleus. I don't know if we've decided who chose what on this one, so we'll have to figure it out. You have Color Blaze Wicked Witch,
Yes.
versus Color Blaze Mini Me Chartreuse.
I love Wicked Witch. I love that lime green that's textured in there on that dark burgundy foliage color. And then it has the height to it, so you can use it, you know, in the landscape for something tall. You can use it in the container as a thriller. It's a coleus, which the other ones are coleus too, but you know, they can, you know, you can just pinch those back and they're just going to rebloom. And it is one, guys, that if we get it in the ground and we can keep it managed, and you know, it's going to be there in the fall, and your neighbors are just going to ask, well, where did you get that? Where can I go get that? Well, it's too late. You know, so it's one that still has that cool color for your fall garden, so you can leave it in there maybe when you take out your border of petunias to plant pansies, you know, until
Hard freeze.
Until a hard freeze, and then it's gone. But yes, and Wicked Witch, when it first came out, was very, very, very popular.
Oh, rightly so. Rightly so.
Yeah.
All right.
It has a nice ruffle to its leaf.
It does. It has a really
pretty.
cool texture to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the new Color Blaze Mini Me Chartreuse, which is going to be out this year, we trialed it last year. I absolutely fell in love with it because it has that bright chartreuse color to it. I guess it would be comparable to like Lime Time if you're familiar with Lime Time. However, since it is a mini me, it stays nice and short and compact. Where Jerry's going to have to go out and pinch back the Wicked Witch once every couple of weeks to keep it nice and tight, and so it doesn't get to be more like a tree and flop over.
But I'm just not a mono out there, man. I'm like glowing with all these colors, and I'm not just single little color hanging out.
Well, because I'm more versatile. So you have that darkness where maybe you could like fade into the background. I am bright and cheery and happy, and I'm like a cute little shrub out there in the landscape. And so I stand out, and I'm bold, and I'm happy, and I am cheery, and you don't have to pinch me. You don't have to pinch my head off, and you don't have to worry about fertilizing, really. Just get some nice organic.
Yeah, both are that way.
Yeah, they're both that way. I am sun or shade.
I'm pretty sure I'm sun or shade.
You are, but you didn't say that.
Yes.
So I'm sun or shade, so very versatile. And I would say that the mini me's, unless you have really large containers, which the Wicked Witch would do really well in a large container, but sometimes in smaller containers, Wicked Witch is just too big. And the Color Blaze mini me would be much more suitable for medium to smaller containers.
Okay.
All right. Got any final words on that?
I do not.
You do not. All right, next we have some ground covers, if you will. The Blew My Mind XL Volvulus versus Lemon Coral Sedum.
So I'm loving my Blew My Mind.
I know you are.
You know, it's like one of the, this is it. I don't have to say anything else. It's one of the very true blue flowers that you can put in your garden. Boom, done, one. And it's very super heat tolerant, drought tolerant, all those other things.
I thought you were one and done.
Yeah.
I thought you were just riding on the true blue flowers.
They can do all those things. You know, the sedum's not going to be able to do that. You know, it's going to have a little bit of water, you know, compared to the Blew My Mind. And then it'll be there till frost. Mm-hmm. You can put it in your most neglected areas.
Let's think about this.
And it's blue.
So we've had Blew My Mind. We use it every year. We also use lemon coral every year. But however, lemon coral, yours only lasts till a frost. My lemon coral is a perennial for me in Zone 8A. And I seem to recall that my lemon coral is still in the ground, visible, as opposed to your Blew My Mind, which is gone.
Yeah. That's true.
It is true, yes. So,
only here, but you know.
Well, in warmer zone, I think it's zone
north,
7. I think it's. I'd have to look. I want to say it's zone 7.
That just makes
7
that go
and warmer.
wait. So my larger market.
My southern friends, I'm looking out for you because lemon coral will be a perennial for you.
Yeah.
And it does give you that beautiful. I do think the lemon coral does trail more than it has a bigger spread than
it would be faster.
Yes. Also, I will say this, personal experience last year, the whole bunny issue, the whole plan was to have Blew My Mind in mass along the pathway. The rabbits just chewed it down to a nub. They never touched the lemon coral. And that was just all in that same area right there.
Yep.
Yes, so there you go.
We had it at the mailbox.
If you know me, you know that I adore
it
blew my mind.
It did great up there, and there were rabbits running around, and they, for whatever reason, left it alone for this one down at the patio. I don't know why, but I think it was early on.
They annihilated that thing.
Yeah, I think it was early on when we just had planted those things.
In the early spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Switching it up a little bit, we have 2 more sets to go here. We have the Super Bean of Pink Cashmere versus the Bewitched Green with Envy Sweet Potato Vine.
Well, this was all settled last year when it was the #1 selling plant here at Creekside, Super Bean of Pink Cashmere, and right now I'm almost positive it is selling out very fast. It's a great super beena out of all the super beanas that we have grown here. Now, I'm sure that other folks have grown some of the other ones in the Prairie Winter line, but as far as the ones that we have grown here in the landscape, you can plant it. Jenny has planted in the container, she's planted in the boxes, and it does well. But it loves the landscape, and we planted in the signature garden in the corners, and it was there and would have been there until frost. We've had a lot of verbenas, non-proven winter ones, different ones, even the perennial ones.
They peter out.
They peter out. And you know, Pink Cashmere is putting out flowers and flowers and flowers. We did trim it back to get more branching, so that way we have new and fresher flowers, and it loves food, so you got to make sure that your soil, I would say that with most of all the annuals, you know, is that they need good soil, good and rich, and using the water soluble fertilizer on them at least once a week. You know, the Blue My Mind would be the exception to that.
Yep.
You know.
All right. The Sweet Caroline Bewitched Green with Envy Sweet Potato Vine.
It's just boring, folks, again, compared to Pink Cashmere.
This is not knocking. And I will have to say, well, we won't talk about that. You probably know how I feel about that. But I will say that you don't always necessarily have to have flowers to have really great interest in the garden. And I think we always think as gardeners that we have to have tons of flowers.
Yep.
You don't have to have tons of flowers. The Bewitched Green with Envy Sweet Potato Vine is a really bright chartreuse. Can you tell I like these chartreuse colors because it just stands out? Has a big, huge, beautiful leaf on it. Makes a bold statement in the garden. I dare say you would see from a distance, you're going to see Bewitched Green with Envy better than you would see the Pink Cashmere from a distance. I think it makes
have white in me, you know, and then you did say that white stood out in the garden on
it's just a very small.
Yeah.
It's a very small amount of white. And then of course the Bewitched Green with Envy, you can use it in the landscape, you can use it in containers. It has that bit of that mounding and spilling effect to it. Gorgeous color. And if it gets out of control, you can whack it back and there you go.
There we go.
There we go. All right, we're going to end on the note of dahlias.
Oh, dahlias.
Dahlias, and I get to go first this time. So it is Mystic Illusion Dahlia, which I suspect that would be your choice, versus the new Virtuoso Pinkerrific.
Yeah, they're both great.
Yeah, well, I'm going to choose Pinkerrific. So the Virtuoso Pinkerrific, there's a whole line of the Virtuosos, but Pinkerrific is one that we had the most experience with last year. We're going to have a ton of them this year, but Pinkerrific was one that we had the most experience with. And I love this dahlia because it is it's petite. Dahlias traditionally can get really big and can get tall, and then you have to either stake them or support them, especially at the end of the season because you get a strong thunderstorm and they knock over. With the Pinkerrific, it's really tight and compact in that 18 to 24 inches. You cannot beat that beautiful double flower on it. Has this like almost like an iridescent look to it when you get a little bit of pinks. I dare say a little hint of purple in it. It is gorgeous. Make great cut flowers. They do really well in the spring. Take a little bit of a break in the heat of the summer, but the fall they were just gorgeous in mass. Tons of flowers on them.
Yeah, this is a good competition on these two because they're really two different types of dahlia. You know, and Mystic Illusion is that illusion that it only has flower power, you know, but it has the foliage power also, and it has a little bit of more height to it. So you could, actually plant it with Pinkerrific if you wanted to and put it in the front, and it could be there with Pinkerrific where, you know, either way. But it's just that, and then that really nice, if you like smaller flowers, it's really bright. Everyone, from a distance, it's the one with the dark foliage with the really bright flowers that your neighbors are going to see, and they're going to wonder what that plant is if you know, when you plant it right, and you'll be the envy of the neighborhood with the really bright flowers. We have a town up the mountain in Blowing Rock that plants Mystic Illusion every year in the same garden, and we were always so amazed at that. And I've had many customers that have come, and they know we sell lots of Proven Winners, so they are hoping that we would have Mystic Illusion because they were in Blowing Rock and saw it and came here and purchased it.
Yeah.
So
and I will say, because we had
makes it a good winner.
We had it in the Signature Garden last year in the raised beds, and people were like, "What is that plant? What is that plant? That dark plant with those beautiful yellow flowers."
They don't really relate it sometimes as a dahlia.
No, because it's a single flower, like the petals. It's a flat single flower.
So it's that illusion.
Yes.
You know, and
it's
it gives,
beautiful.
and it gives that mystery, and it's something for you to talk about. And maybe your neighbor will come over and talk to you now, and they'll see it, and y'all can talk and meet each other, and you can explain what that is, because I'm sure they don't know.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. So those are the Great Plant Debate, the Jenny versus Jerry, the Plant Challenge annuals, whatever you want to say. So let us know what your choices would be. And then I think we will do, that'll be a fun one to do with the shrubs. I think that'll be a lot of fun to do with the shrubs. So as always, we hope you found this fun, informative, and inspirational, and obviously lots of fun. I know we had fun doing this together. It's always nice to kind of joke back and forth when you both actually love each other's plants, but you're trying to debate against the other one. So that's always fun. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.